The war had ended, or so everyone believed. Smoke still rose from broken cities, and the sky carried the dark color of fire and ash. Alien banners floated above tall ruins, marking the land as conquered. Their fleets filled the orbit, shining like cold metal stars. To the alien commanders, this world was finished business. Another victory added to their long history of conquest. Across the planet, silence ruled. The guns had stopped. The last defense lines had fallen days ago. Human cities were shattered, their lights gone, their voices quiet. The alien leaders gathered in their command halls, speaking of success and rewards. They talked about moving fleets to the next target, about how easy this war had been in its final days. They believed humans were broken. Deep underground, small groups of survivors waited in darkness. They had lost contact with every signal beyond the planet. No ships came. No messages arrived. Hope was a weak thing now, almost gone. They believed no one was coming for them. They believed the war was truly over. Above them, alien patrol ships moved slowly across the sky. There was no urgency in their movement. No fear. The aliens walked openly through ruined streets, confident and proud. To them, humans were no longer a threat. Just a memory of resistance that had failed. In the main alien command station, victory reports continued to arrive. Casualties were low. Control was complete. The planet's resources would soon be harvested. One commander laughed and said the humans had fought bravely but foolishly. Another replied that bravery meant nothing without power. Then something strange happened. A junior officer noticed a weak signal on long-range sensors. It was small and unclear, almost lost in background noise. At first, it was ignored. The galaxy was full of strange signals, especially after a war. But minutes later, the signal appeared again. Then again. And then more followed. The officer reported it to a superior. The superior frowned but did not seem worried. He ordered a deeper scan, more out of habit than concern. The results were delayed. Systems struggled to identify the source. The signal did not match any known alien ship. Still, no alarms were raised. The commanders continued their meetings. Celebration plans moved forward. The war was over, after all. Humans had no fleets left. No bases. No power. But the sensors kept detecting movement. High above the planet, far beyond normal detection range, shadows moved through space. They were silent. No bright engines. No broadcast signals. Just cold, controlled motion. The alien system struggled to understand what they were seeing. A senior commander finally ordered full scans. This time, the results were impossible to ignore. Unknown vessels were entering the system. They were not retreating ships. They were not damaged. They were moving with purpose. Their speed was steady, controlled, and confident. Too confident. Confusion spread through the command station. Officers spoke at once. Some argued it was debris. Others said it could be automated probes. No one said the word they all feared. Humans. Because humans could not be here. That was impossible. The war was finished. Down on the surface, survivors felt it before they understood it. The ground shook softly, like distant thunder. Some thought it was another bombardment. Others believed it was the planet breaking apart under alien control. Fear returned, sharp and painful. Then the sky changed. Clouds burned away in bright lines. The air screamed as something heavy tore through the atmosphere. Fire trails appeared, not from alien weapons, but from something falling fast and controlled. Alien patrol units looked up in confusion. This was not an attack pattern they knew. Their weapon systems did not lock properly. Their sensors lagged behind reality. Dropships broke through the clouds. They were large, dark, and armored. They did not slow until the last moment. They did not avoid fire. They pushed through it. The ground cracked as they landed, throwing dust and flame into the air. From inside the ships came a sound the aliens had not heard before. Heavy footsteps. Metal doors opened. Smoke poured out. And then they stepped forward. Human soldiers. They wore thick armor, scarred and dark. Their visors glowed faintly through the smoke. They moved without panic, without hesitation. They did not speak. They did not look around in shock. They walked like they had planned this moment for a long time. Alien units opened fire. The shots hit, but the humans did not fall. They kept moving. Calm. Focused. Alive. In orbit, alien commanders finally understood their mistake. The war was not finished. It had only been waiting. The alien soldiers did not understand what they were seeing. Their weapons fired again and again, bright energy cutting through smoke and dust. The shots hit the human armor, sparks flying across black metal, but the soldiers did not stop. They did not run. They did not shout. They walked forward like the fire meant nothing. This was not how broken enemies behaved. Human soldiers raised their weapons with slow control. When they fired, the sound was deep and heavy, like thunder trapped inside metal. Alien front lines collapsed in seconds. Armor melted. Shields failed. Bodies fell where they stood. The humans moved as one force, covering each other, advancing step by step. Alien commanders screamed orders across their channels. Defensive lines were formed too late. Heavy units were deployed in panic. Nothing slowed the humans. They did not rush. They did not waste shots. Every movement had purpose. Deep underground, human survivors watched the battlefield through broken cameras. At first, they did not believe it. Some thought it was a trick. Some thought it was a final vision before death. Then they saw the human markings on the armor. They heard human command signals breaking through alien jamming. Hope returned, slow and painful, like light after a long night. The alien command station in orbit became chaos. Screens filled with red alerts. Ground forces reported impossible losses. Entire units were gone within minutes. A senior commander demanded answers. He wanted to know where these soldiers came from. Why no fleet had been detected earlier? Why the humans were still fighting? No one had answers. Above the planet, more human ships appeared. Not a fleet rushing in fear, but a controlled arrival. Ships took positions with perfect spacing. They did not fire blindly. They waited. Watching. Measuring. Alien defense platforms opened fire from orbit. Human ships responded once. The response was enough. Platforms vanished in silent explosions, torn apart before alarms could finish sounding. On the ground, human soldiers reached the ruins of a major city. Alien troops tried to regroup there, using tall broken towers as cover. Humans changed tactics instantly. Small teams moved into side streets. Others climbed through fire and rubble, taking higher ground. Aliens had never fought like this before. They were used to fear. Used to enemies breaking. Humans did not break. An alien heavy unit charged, massive and loud, its weapons shaking the ground. It fired everything it had. Humans split apart smoothly, like water around stone. One soldier stepped forward, planted his feet, and fired a single shot. The heavy unit collapsed in burning pieces. Silence followed. The remaining aliens began to retreat. Some dropped weapons. Some ran. Human soldiers did not chase blindly. They secured survivors first. They marked safe zones. They sent signals underground, guiding trapped humans to safety. This confused the alien commanders more than the fighting. Why protect civilians in the middle of a battle? Why slow down victory? They did not understand that this was not just a battle. This was a promise being kept. A human command signal finally went out across the planet. It was simple. Clear. Calm. Human forces have landed. Stay hidden. We are coming. For the first time since the invasion, human voices filled the air. Alien leaders argued fiercely. Some demanded full retreat. Others demanded orbital destruction of the planet. A few warned that destroying the planet now would invite something worse. Humanity was watching. Humanity was here. One commander made the fatal mistake of underestimating humans again. He ordered a massive counterattack. All remaining ground forces were pushed toward the landing zones. The humans were ready. As alien forces moved, human ships in orbit adjusted position. Precision strikes hit supply lines, communication towers, and command posts. Alien forces lost coordination. Orders stopped making sense. Panic replaced discipline. On the ground, human soldiers held their lines. They did not fall back. They did not give ground. When aliens charged, they met walls of fire and steel. When aliens tried to flank, humans were already waiting. The battlefield became a trap. Hours passed. Then more human dropships landed. Fresh troops. Fresh armor. Fresh resolve. Humans were not reinforcing weakness. They were expanding control. Alien morale shattered. Reports from other systems began to arrive. Human fleets were moving elsewhere too. This was not a single rescue mission. This was a wider response. A planned response. The alien commanders finally saw the truth. Humanity had not arrived late. Humanity had arrived exactly on time. And the war they thought was over was only just beginning. The aliens no longer fought with confidence. Every movement they made felt slow and unsure, as if fear had added weight to their bodies. Their weapons still fired, their ships still hovered above, but something important was missing. Control was gone. Belief was gone. The humans had taken that from them. Human soldiers advanced through the ruins without hurry. They moved with patience, clearing streets, buildings, and underground paths. They checked every corner. They protected every group of survivors they found. Children, elders, wounded fighters, no one was left behind. This was not how the aliens fought wars. This was not how conquerors behaved. Alien scouts tried to watch from a distance, hiding behind broken towers and smoke. What they saw frightened them more than explosions ever had. Humans did not fight like desperate beings. They fought like planners. Like this battle had already happened in their minds long before the first ship landed. An alien commander ordered an ambush near an old transport hub. Heavy weapons were hidden. Traps were set. The aliens waited in silence. When the human unit entered the area, the trap was triggered. It failed. Humans stopped instantly. Smoke filled the air. Before alien weapons could fire again, human drones rose from behind cover, scanning, marking targets. Seconds later, precise fire struck every alien position. The ambush ended before it truly began. The commander watched the feed in disbelief. Humans were not reacting. They were predicting. Across the battlefield, similar scenes repeated. Alien units tried to regroup, only to be cut off. They tried to escape, only to find paths blocked. Human ships in orbit adjusted constantly, sending information to ground forces in real time. Every alien move was seen. Every mistake was punished. Still, the humans did not rush for total destruction. They focused on control. They rebuilt communication lines for survivors. They cleared medical zones. They even guarded water sources and shelters. This confused alien intelligence units deeply. Why waste time saving lives when victory was within reach? The answer became clear as the hours passed. Human survivors began to emerge in larger numbers. With guidance from human soldiers, they moved to safe areas. Some were weak. Some were injured. But all of them saw the same thing. Humans had returned. This changed the battlefield more than weapons ever could. Survivors began helping. They shared tunnels, maps, and hidden paths. They warned of alien traps and supply routes. Human soldiers listened. They adapted even faster. Alien commanders watched control slip through their fingers. One desperate leader ordered a direct strike on a human landing zone. Heavy alien armor rolled forward, supported by air units. The attack was loud and violent. Fire lit the sky. Humans responded with calm precision. Human armor units moved into position, forming a solid line. Air defense activated instantly. Alien ships fell from the sky, burning as they crashed into the ruins. Ground units were surrounded from 3 sides before they realized what was happening. The battle lasted minutes. When it ended, nothing moved except smoke. Alien communication channels filled with fear. Some units refused orders. Some commanders disappeared. Others demanded permission to retreat off-world. High Command delayed its response, unable to accept what was happening. Then a human transmission spread across all frequencies. It was not a threat. It was not loud. It was clear and firm. This world is under human protection. Withdraw now. Alien leaders debated the message. Some wanted to ignore it. Others warned that humans never spoke without meaning. The message repeated, unchanged. Calm. Certain. In orbit, human fleets repositioned again. Larger ships moved forward. Their presence alone was enough to shake alien confidence. These were not rushed reinforcements. These were prepared forces. This was when the aliens finally understood the truth. Humans had not come to survive. They had come to end this. Alien commanders attempted one final strategy. They planned to overload power grids and destroy key regions of the planet. If they could not hold it, they would ruin it. Orders were sent. Humans intercepted them. Human strike teams moved fast. They did not stop to rest. They did not slow down. They reached power centers, command nodes, and weapon platforms before alien teams arrived. Some fights were close. Some were brutal. Humans did not retreat. Every alien plan failed. By the end of the day, the battlefield had changed completely. What had once been alien-controlled territory was now divided into secured human zones. Survivors walked freely under human watch. Fires were controlled. Supplies were distributed. The aliens still had ships. They still had weapons. But they no longer had control. The war had changed its nature. This was no longer humans defending a lost world. This was humans deciding how the war would end. And somewhere deep within alien command space, fear took root. Because they realized something far worse than defeat. They had awakened a force that did not forget, did not forgive, and did not stop once it began. Fear moved faster than any ship. It did not need engines or weapons. It traveled through voices, broken orders, and silent pauses in command rooms across space. The alien leaders felt it growing, deep and cold. For the first time in many wars, they were no longer certain of victory. Inside the main alien command station, screens showed the same truth from every angle. Human forces controlled key cities. Human ships held the skies. Alien ground units were scattered, retreating, or destroyed. Reports arrived one after another, each worse than the last. Commanders shouted at officers. Officers blamed systems. Systems showed no errors. The problem was not technology. The problem was humans. An elder commander stood in silence, watching the feeds. He had seen many wars. He had crushed many worlds. But he had never seen an enemy return like this. Calm. Prepared. Unafraid. Humans did not fight like desperate survivors. They fought like judges. Across the planet, alien units tried to regroup in fortified zones. They raised shields. They stacked heavy weapons. They waited for human attacks that did not come immediately. The waiting made it worse. Every second felt like a countdown. Human forces did not rush. They tightened control slowly, cutting supply lines, disabling communication towers, isolating alien groups. Every move reduced alien options. Every hour made escape harder. Some alien commanders ordered full withdrawal. Others refused, fearing punishment from higher command. Conflicting orders caused confusion. Units moved in wrong directions. Some walked directly into human-controlled zones without realizing it. Those units never returned. Human patrols were quiet. They moved through smoke and shadow, appearing where aliens felt safest. Human armor showed damage now, but it did not slow them. Their movements were still steady. Their discipline never broke. A group of alien officers attempted to negotiate. They opened a channel, demanding talks. Human command responded once. Withdraw your forces. Nothing more. No threats. No debate. The alien officers tried again, offering resources, territory, even surrender of the planet. The human response did not change. Withdraw. The simplicity frightened them more than anger ever could. In orbit, alien fleets pulled back slightly, keeping distance from human ships. They expected pursuit. It did not come. Human fleets held position, silent and watching. This silence was heavy. It felt deliberate. Alien intelligence units searched desperately for answers. They reviewed old human wars, old encounters, old records. A pattern began to appear. Humans did not fight quickly. They fought correctly. When humans returned, it was never random. It was always final. This realization spread through alien command space. Fear turned into panic. On the ground, a massive alien stronghold prepared for what it believed would be a final stand. Thousands of troops gathered. Heavy weapons lined the walls. Shields glowed bright. Alien commanders told their soldiers this was where humans would break. Humans approached at dawn. They did not charge. Human ships in orbit fired first, precise and controlled. Shields failed in seconds. Communication towers vanished. Power systems collapsed. The stronghold went dark. Then human ground forces moved in. They advanced through smoke and debris, cutting through defenses with terrifying efficiency. Alien soldiers fought back desperately. Some screamed. Some froze. Some dropped their weapons and ran. Humans did not slow. Within an hour, the stronghold fell. Alien survivors were captured, not executed. They were restrained, disarmed, and guarded. This confused them deeply. Mercy was not something they expected. It felt worse than death. It meant humans were confident enough to spare them. The fall of the stronghold broke something inside alien command. Orders stopped coming. Channels filled with silence. Some commanders fled their stations. Others locked themselves inside, refusing to accept reality. High command delayed decisions, hoping time would fix what force could not. Time only made it worse. Human forces continued expanding control zones. They rebuilt shelters. They restored limited power. They broadcast evacuation routes. Survivors followed human instructions without question. The planet began to breathe again. Alien leaders watched this with horror. This was no longer a war zone. It was becoming human territory again. Slowly. Carefully. Permanently. A final message arrived at Alien High Command from Human Fleet Control. It was broadcast across all command levels. This conflict ends now. Remove your forces. No emotion. No anger. Just certainty. Some alien leaders finally understood. This was not negotiation. This was judgment. Humans were not asking. They were allowing a chance to leave. A few commanders ordered full retreat immediately. Ships turned and fled. Others hesitated, afraid of appearing weak. That hesitation cost them everything. Human fleets moved at last. Not in chaos. Not in rage. In perfect formation. The sight of them advancing broke the last resistance inside Alien Command. Panic became surrender. Escape became priority. Pride vanished. The war was no longer about territory or resources. It was about survival. And the aliens realized too late that when humans said the war was over, it was not a question. It was a decision. The retreat began without ceremony. Alien fleets broke formation and turned away from the planet they once claimed as a trophy. Engines burned bright as ships fled in different directions, each commander focused on saving what remained of their forces. There was no victory call. No final strike. Only escape. Human fleets did not chase recklessly. They advanced just enough to make one thing clear: there would be no return. Human ships held the edges of the system like silent guards, watching every alien vessel leave. Any ship that delayed too long was disabled and forced to surrender. No warning shots were needed. The message was already understood. On the surface, the sound of battle slowly faded. Fires still burned, but no new explosions followed. Smoke lifted little by little, revealing a sky that no longer carried alien shadows. For the first time in a long time, survivors stepped into open streets without fear of patrols or sudden death. Human soldiers remained alert. They secured landing zones, guarded shelters, and helped move the injured. Some removed their helmets for the first time, letting survivors see human faces. Tired. Scarred. Calm. Real. Many survivors cried when they saw them. Some fell to their knees. Some reached out just to touch the armor, to be sure this was not another illusion. Human soldiers did not celebrate. They helped quietly. This was not about pride. It was about responsibility. Deep in space, Alien High Command finally accepted the truth. Emergency councils were called. Records were reviewed. Reports from the battlefield were compared again and again. The same conclusion appeared every time. They had misjudged humanity. They had believed humans were defeated because humans were silent. They believed silence meant weakness. They did not understand that humans were preparing. Watching. Waiting. Alien historians began writing new records immediately. The event could not be hidden. Too many fleets had seen it. Too many systems had heard the transmissions. Across the galaxy, whispers spread. Humans had returned from the edge of extinction. And they had won. On the reclaimed planet, Human Command established a final perimeter. No alien ships remained within range. The world was safe. Broken, but alive. Human engineers began restoring power. Medical teams worked without rest. Supply ships arrived steadily. The war had not ended everywhere, but on this world, it was over. A final human message was broadcast beyond the system. It was sent openly, without encryption, so all could hear it. Allies. Enemies. Observers. We protect our own. We remember every attack. We respond. Nothing more. Across distant star systems, governments paused. Fleets reconsidered routes. Commanders reread old reports about humanity. Many realized they had ignored warnings hidden in history. Humans did not conquer quickly. Humans endured. And when they answered violence, they answered completely. Back on the planet, survivors gathered near a rebuilt landing zone. Human soldiers prepared to leave some units behind while others moved on. This was not the end of humanity's response. It was only one chapter. A child asked a human soldier if the aliens would come back. The soldier paused, then shook his head. No, he said simply. And for the first time, the child believed it. As human ships lifted off, the planet watched them rise into a sky that finally felt open again. Not empty. Protected. The soldiers leaving knew this world would remember them. But more importantly, the galaxy would remember this moment. The aliens had believed the war was over because humans had gone quiet. They were wrong. The war ended when humans decided it would. That truth spread farther than any fleet ever could. It moved through trade routes, command halls, and ancient councils. It reshaped plans and delayed invasions. It saved worlds that would never know how close they came to destruction. And whenever future commanders spoke of attacking human space, someone always repeated the same lesson. Never mistake silence for surrender. Never assume humanity is finished. Because when humans touch down, everything changes.